And joining us now for analysis is Brent Sadler, Navy veteran and senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Naval Warfare and Advanced Technology Allison Center for National Security. Brent, great to be with you today. 1 year on, and there are still questions being asked within Israel about the deadliest day in its history and how Hamas was able to carry out this horrific attack in the first place. Brent, so how did Israel's intelligence agencies and military, how did they miss this attack? And who do you think is to blame for this massive security failure?
Well, thanks for having me on today. I mean, this is a dark anniversary. Thankfully, it appears that this war, and it really is a war, and it's already escalated to a regional one, which includes Iran and its proxies throughout, continues. But the initiative appears to be shifting to Israel. But of course, if you went back to October 6th, things along the border with Gaza seem to be fairly peaceful. And I think, and this goes to the military operational planning of Hamas, they seem to have lulled Israeli defense forces and even the political leadership that an attack was not imminent nor being planned because Hamas had benefited from that relatively peaceful border for several years. But in reality, we all know now, they had been taking their time to plan a very barbaric attack. Had they stuck to a military objective, it might have been something of a success, but it degraded rapidly into a bloodlust, which then has embroiled other proxies of Iran like Hezbollah and the Houthis to take up arms against Israel in the ensuing day.
Yeah, and I'm sure many lessons were learned from that day. The Israeli government initially stated that its aims were to degrade the military capabilities of Hamas and associated terrorist groups, secure the release of Israeli hostages, and remove the militant Islamist movement from power. Your assessment, how successful has Israel been in achieving those goals?
Well, those goals are long term, so it's going to be a while before we see, success. But clearly, Israel has taken the first step, and that is to secure militarily Gaza. The second step is to eradicate Hamas so that it cannot reconstitute itself and come back in some new form in a year, 2 years later, and repeat the atrocities of October 7th. But the longer goal has to be how to sever Iran's support to these proxies that continue to plan and to build and to attack Israel whenever the opportunity avails or at the behest of Iran. So the problem is much bigger than Hamas.
Yeah, and a year later, not only is Israel still fighting Hamas, but it's also fighting battles on multiple fronts now. Brent, can Israel continue to keep this up, and where do you see this all going?
Well, the momentum is shifting to Israel's favor, and I think the last few months, it certainly hasn't been very helpful that policy recommendations and a pressure that's been applied by Washington has not been leading to a successful or sustainable ceasefire or peace. And so Israel has had to go in many ways on its own. That's not to say the U.S. isn't defending Israel from attacks in Iran, which it did just recently in a mass ballistic missile attack. But quite frankly, Israel has the wherewithal to continue its fight in Gaza. It has the wherewithal to continue its fight against Hezbollah. The danger with Hezbollah is the over 200,000 rockets that it has. If it does not take that out, that capability, its Iron Dome, its Arrow, its David's Sling, all of these defense systems could be overwhelmed. And so Israel has an opportunity to put to rest an existential threat to its border to the north. And I think that is probably the more testing and trying challenge for the IDF to accomplish.
And Brent, thank you so much for your insights. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.